All right, I'm going to move ahead with things. The regular weekly meeting of the Senate of the Student Government Association is now in session. This meeting is currently being recorded live. Fiona for the roll call.
Hey guys, so same as last semester. The people that I have missing from last week are Elias, Muna, and then Jack and Matt. McKenna, please send me a message if you think that's wrong and I'll correct that on the attendance. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Fiona. Going along, I think Amarachi isn't here. Is anyone from the BAC here? So, no. Parliamentarian, we don't have anyone, and then speaker is me. Not much today. I think we'll just kind of move ahead and get down to what's on the agenda. Speaking time, is there anyone from the student body that has anything they'd like to mention? Someone's Zoom name looked random and I didn't recognize it, so I wasn't sure. All right, moving on to new business. So I'm actually running unopposed for re-election for speaker. So for the sake of transparency, this is my ballot statement. You don't have to kind of like sit through everything, obviously. Does anyone have any questions? Arnab was going to oversee things if there was an actual election going on. So if someone is concerned, he can step in, but I just figured I'd give people a second to ask anything they wanted to. As expected, I think we're just gonna move ahead. So does anyone have any motions, i.e. hint, hint, a motion to vote?
Motion to vote.
Thanks, Sophia. Is that seconded? I'm gonna go with yes. Okay. There's no other motions. All right, so again, for the sake of transparency and being clear, text Fiona a yes or a no if you hate me and would rather have no one be speaker. Let's vote, actually. I'm assuming this is gonna be quick, hopefully.
Let me just count to make sure we have enough votes in 1 second.
Oh yeah, true, because we technically have to make sure we pass quorum and make sure that enough people voted. I don't know what we would do if people said no, actually. Is Tucker showing off his roommate? Tucker's roommate? No, he can't hear me.
No, I was showing him messages I got from some of the boys.
Oh, never mind. We're just not cool enough, damn. I really thought we were tonight's entertainment, but I guess not.
Right, I was shaking my protein shake.
All right, awesome.
We're at quorum, so yeah, unanimously.
Wow,
yes.
that's what an honor. Okay, moving on. Shocker, no one ran for parliamentarian again. So we need to have a bit of a regroup. At this point, we literally just need someone in terms of like a technicality, because for things like today, for example, if I was running opposed, the parliamentarian would just need to stand in and be like, okay, like who wants to ask questions first? So yeah, at this point, I'm gonna start texting people that I know and be like, run for fucking parliamentarians, we need somebody. So send in your ballot statement. It's a max of 150 words, but I think at this point, if you're just like, we need someone, it will be me. I think that would be enough. So I'm just gonna say that instead of anything else, because we don't have anyone running, and that is that. Does anyone have any questions about what parliamentarian is? Oh yes, the bigger Brenda, you cannot run for parliamentarian because you were on it, Zach. Thank you. Haha. Okay. The one person that here that can't run, actually. I don't think. Oh yes, actually, sorry, good. Sorry, bad. I was asked to like actually refresh what the role is. So basically the idea is that the parliamentarian is supposed to know the bylaws well, and the bylaws are the document that I can, if people don't have access to them, you really should. It's just like the overview of like what it means to be a senator, like how all the technicalities, like what the roles of different people are, what the committees do, things like that. And so the idea is essentially if something happens that's like unconstitutional according to like the Senate's documents, then the parliamentarian's supposed to step in and say like, we can't do that. Or if we're going to pass a bill or resolution that kind of goes against what the bylaws say, they have to veto it. And then I think for the most part, they're more just like a, like, what it's the term is, not like an officiant, but just like, there's supposed to be like a neutral party essentially that just has the term that like whose priority is carrying on like the order of the group. So that's a more serious explanation. Oh yes, Lucy and Ben were both right. Ben was parliamentarian. No.
I was speaker.
Okay, I thought you were parliamentarian as well for some reason. All right, Emma Darcy was also parliamentarian, and so was Lucy. So send them emails, and they'll do an even better job than I ever could of explaining it. Any other questions? Is there an experience requirement for parliamentarian? I don't think so. Lucy or Ben? Right?
I think it's just serving on Senate. I'm not sure if it's a semester or a year, but I can double check on that.
Yeah, I'll grab this bylaws. I think I haven't starred because I'm a nerd.
There should be a time requirement, but I don't know. We revised all the rules, so I don't really remember.
Yeah, at this point, I think, I don't know, I'm more of a, I forget what word it is. You like interpret it liberally. I think I'd rather have someone that didn't meet the like time qualifications than no one at all. So if I can't find it quickly, then I'll just message it in the thing later. But I don't actually. Yeah, I'll look it up while we're like having our discussion, and I'll let you guys know. Oh yeah, once. Okay. All right, awesome. Okay, so moving on, the second or third thing on the agenda was just, I don't know what to call it. So I talked to a couple of people, specifically my committee, about like what we were thinking for the semester, what we as a committee were hoping to work on. And just I had a lot of feedback from them, and then just people in general were saying that they kind of feel like they don't know what to do this semester because just we had so many bills that or resolutions rather that people worked really hard on that didn't really come to fruition. So I thought instead of kind of like keeping on the persona, like acting like those feelings don't exist, I thought it would be more productive for people to kind of, I don't know if it's going to be more of like a venting thing or just like if we're going to kind of like rehash like where we're at and think about ways to move forward. I just thought I'd give a space to talk about people's thoughts. So I don't know if people want to speak, I guess just raise a hand and I'll call on you.
Maybe something that would be like a good idea to do is restart like office hours that we used to have like in Coop, because I think right now we're like at a place where nobody really knows where to go, or like we're not really feeling super connected to the needs or the wants of the student body, and just reaching out or maybe sending out an email like with a response form to them, or like just really making ourselves available to hear what students are saying could generate some ideas for us.
Mm-hmm. I think on that too, like I think we have a we still have our whole budget because we're not really doing events or anything, so it might be possible, I think we talked about last year, like coming up with some kind of like reimbursement to what's it called, to encourage people to actually fill out the forms. Yeah, so for the first years and the first year senators, so as we used to have we would like table in the Coop. I think it's tabling isn't as much of a thing now because of COVID, but basically we'd like set up like a table, and then people, when they were going into the Coop for like lunch or packages, we'd like basically harass them until they came over and like filled out essentially a complaint form about like things that they were interested in fixing about campus. So I'm not sure what that would look like under COVID, but I think Evie's definitely onto something in terms of ways that we could get more ideas going. Did other people have something to say? Hopefully. Lucy?
Just like kind of a suggestion from where I've been like hearing, because obviously I meet with administration sometimes. I think that something that would be productive, because I know it's frustrating, like when you push something forward and then it doesn't go and administration doesn't acknowledge it. I think it's helpful to try to meet with administration earlier in the process to get a feel for what they're going to be able to say, because while certain things may not be able to pass under the conditions that you want it to, you can hopefully work with them to try to get more of a middle ground. Like, I think, for example, on the pass fail, like basically from what I've heard, that was like they had no intention of budging on that, but maybe it, in that meeting you could say, okay, well, if you're not going to budge on that, then professors need to be more understanding about workload or something. So I think that the more contact you have with administration, the more likely they are to be able to bend to kind of things that we're interested in, and hopefully get more actual kind of solutions out of our meetings.
That's great, Lucy. Okay. Fiona.
I guess I kind of just have a question. Like when resolutions are passed and they're presented to like whoever it says in the thing, like they're not actually like presented in a meeting, right? They're just like sent to them.
Yeah, like, yeah, we just send them. Or not, yeah, we can't.
Okay.
Unless it's like to AAB, for example, and we have student representatives on AAB that can kind of say, this is something like we've been working on.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering, like going off of what Lucy was saying, I feel like it would just be more helpful to have like actual discussions with administration, especially the people that the resolutions are going to. So like maybe, for example, when we pass something, like just like literally going and presenting to it like over Zoom or like in person when, I don't know, whenever that's possible. But yeah, just basically what Lucy was saying.
Thanks, Fiona. And I know Tucker and Arnaud both have mentioned in the chat bi-weekly meetings where the admin comes to talk. Yeah, in the past we have had more like having people from like different faculty or administrative like committees come in and like, speak before Senate, which is totally something we can do. It's mostly like, my job to reach out to them. So I think like I got mixed emotions about when the representatives from the task force came and spoke to us. That's why I haven't really sought out their route. But if people feel otherwise and have specific people, like it might be like D. McLaughlin, something like that. Oh, rather, yeah, I mean, yeah, either way, discussions that, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, either way, just wanted to address what was going on in the comments. Chandler?
Yeah. On the note of what Fiona was just saying, I was just wondering, do we have any idea of what the voting process is? When they vote on things, is that just kind of like a black box, or do we know it's X amount of people, or I'm just kind of curious.
I'd say it really depends on who the resolution's addressed to. Because I think sometimes we write, like in the past, we've written like to D. McLaughlin and been like, we want this to happen. And then that's kind of up to him. But like in situations like where most of our resolutions last semester were addressed to the AAB, then that would be like there's like 15 people on the board or something, and they'd all vote and there would be majority rules. I think the short answer is that it really differs depending on who we're addressing our resolutions to.
Awesome.
Sophia?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think it's a good idea to have people from admin come. Like for example, I'm on the SAB and we had a meeting yesterday and we were talking about kind of like COVID restrictions and like the commitment to community health and all that stuff. So I think it would be good for someone to come here so that they could hear, kind of what we have to say, even about the car thing, even if they might not budge, but just to hear directly, our voices on like different stuff when it comes to the restrictions, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think I'll probably make like a form and then people can submit like suggestions, and then I'll just reach out to those people that people are interested in hearing. Because I don't want to call people in if no one wants to have a discussion with them. So yes. Anybody else?
I was just gonna say, I think Matt, when he was speaker, like put on the agendas, like if there's like someone you want to come talk, like put their name here. So maybe we could do that.
Yeah, that works totally. You mean like on the actual agenda?
Just like a Google survey so that people
Oh, yeah.
could like respond and be like, oh, I want I want Dan Go to come speak.
All right, good idea, Abby. Do that. Easy fix. Anybody else? I don't know, I just kind of feel like coming from about like a week ago, a couple people were kind of saying that like they're like, oh, I don't know why I'm like doing this in the first place. So I kind of felt like it was worth talking about. No, if anybody else. Sophia, is your hand still raised? Sorry. It's okay. I still don't want to ignore you. Tucker, is that her hand raised?
Yeah, so I know Lucy mentioned that anyone can invite an admin to a meeting, or schedule a meeting yourself. But I mean, just as someone who's a freshman, I'm not exactly sure how successful I would be as a freshman to get, a serious inquiry from someone in the administration. So it'd probably have to come, like my thoughts would be that would probably come from the speaker or Marashi, for example. No?
I mean, definitely that happens, but like another thing that I think maybe Senate might be lacking a little bit of, like right now, that I think could help people is if you're interested in something, you can just kind of create your own committee. So like, for example, if you're really passionate about social hosting and you want to restructure that, you could say in announcements, like, I want to do something on social hosting. Anyone who wants to come, like, let's set up a separate meeting. So you can meet like whatever on a Wednesday night. And then you can come up with some ideas. And then I would say the next step would be good to meet with administration. So like, obviously I get as a freshman, it's probably a little weird to reach out to administration, but like you totally can, and they will be receptive. Like, I think they're more interested in talking with you than you might necessarily think. Like they want to help you. That's why they're doing their job. So, and I think that it's more effective when you at least have some backing and some support and they know where you're trying to go with it.
Yeah, just on that, I think you'd be surprised. When I think fall of sophomore year, I sent an email asking to meet with like the head of campus safety, like Dan Go, to work on like the classroom thing, and he responded to that, and I was able to meet with him. And he's like pretty significant. So we can definitely do more things to try and bring them in, but also like don't be too scared to just reach out. Like worst thing that happens is they just like don't respond.
Yeah, going off of that really quickly, even last year as a freshman, I was able to meet with Dan Go directly, like about gate card resolutions, and he was super open to meeting with me. So like, I wouldn't be apprehensive about your class here or anything. They really don't care. Everyone's like the same in their eyes.
Sophia, is your hand still raised? It's okay. Yeah. Going off of what people were saying, I met with people in Res Life a couple of times with my first year. What was I gonna say? Yeah, and then kind of just going off of what Lucy said, I think it's also important that I think you don't have to like have an idea, be like, this is the exact like resolution I want to write. This is like the initiative I want to start. I think a lot of times just kind of even like if you can find a group of people that are all annoyed about the same thing, I think that can be like really productive sometimes, because then you're just like, we'll figure this out eventually. I think like a lot of people kind of wait for like direction and wait for someone to say like, this is like the, golden ticket idea that we're just going to implement, it's going to solve it. And I think that the more we can kind of get people to just like start talking to each other and start brainstorming, I think that's really productive. Anybody else have anything they want to share? All right. And then maybe going forward, we'll probably have more like brainstorming-esque sessions as a group to kind of see what we can come up with. Oh, Tucker, great.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really an idea or anything. I was just wondering if we were going to bring up that resolution we tabled last meeting.
I was not sent an updated copy, so I think that is not on the agenda for this week. I think we sent Kate Anderson did that poll on the Instagram about when people want the but when people wanted the day off. I haven't heard from her, but I think I'll get that update and then forward it to the people that were working on the resolution, and we can adjust that and then send it out. That's good. Any other questions? All right. Think that is all for me. I said no announcements or anything. All right, awesome. I mean, not awesome. I hope that we can just kind of this semester take it as like a time to regroup, kind of come up with some things people want to work on. I think that'd be great to see the kind of energy in the spring. Yeah. Long story short, the chair will be in favor of a motion to adjourn. All right. Yeah. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for chatting with me and everybody.